Dear all, welcome everyone following in my channel for the first time or formally. You are the very welcome. I thank everyone who commented on the former videos, and in particular I thank ABCD English who comments on Ode Onegation Earn and suggests a video about Ode to a Nightingale. I promise him to do in the very soon time, and here I am fulfilling my word. So, Ode to a Nightingale is among the best romantic odes of John Keats, one of the fifth of his odes. It's different from Ode Onegation Earn in terms of motion, motivation, steering, shifting, flying. There is more motion than in the Ode to a Nightingale, Ode Onegation Earn, where there is a vase in a museum stuck and just in front of Keats describing the images around it and finishing it by a proverb: beauty is true to beauty, that's all you know, nothing all you need to know. Ode to a Nightingale is rather an address, a speech, a dialogue, a meditation that is spoken, sometimes silence another time, between John Keats and the Nightingale. The occasion of this poem, John Keats was invited in his Charles Brown Brown's friend to Keats' home, in his home, and it was spring of 1819, 2 years before the death of John Keats. And since it was spring, the nightingales used to build their nest near to the homes and the gardens, and of course this makes Keats very happy to admire and contemplate and meditate upon the nightingale, the singing bird. So the ode is a resume of what was happening in the mind of John Keats. John Keats, who lived a very shattered life because of the loss of his brothers. One brother departed to America. The other one was died by tuberculosis. Also, he suffered from rejection of the critics of the time, bad reviews to his poetry at that time. He suffered from a bad financial condition because he had no projects, no gains. See that he left medical studies, so he couldn't marry his love, Fanny Brown. So all these bad circumstances were poured in the Ode to a Nightingale to express those multitude of frustrations in the life of the poet. In terms of form, Ode to a Nightingale is composed of 8 stanzas. Each stanza is composed of 10 lines, and each line is composed of 10 syllables. Each 10 syllables means 5 feet. 5 feet means iambic pentameter, an excellent uniform scheme, and a sad tune, pessimistic tune because of Keats' misfortune in life. The occasion, it was written, it was the spring, and all the ode is an expression of juxtapositions, a confusion, a blending, a matching of hope and despair, life and death, love and hate, termination and eternity, mortality and immortality. That's suffering, the wounds, the lesions of the poet can be stopped, but only by a severe bad action or event, sad event, which is death. So you find many words of sadness in the ode, of forlorn, of fade away, of adieu. That's the poet use in order to express his malaise. So the ode is composed of 8 stanzas, and you can take a sheet of paper and write positive words and negative words. Whenever the words are positive, know that they flow in the description of the nightingale words. Whenever the words are bad, negative, sad, cold, full of death, pale, weak, weary, know that this is the world of John Keats. So John Keats used Ode to a Nightingale as a complaint, as an address to the bird, the singing bird, which he find it immortal, that the song of the nightingale should accompany generations after generations, but his ears should cease to listen to the music. Unfortunately, music should be fled, and then the poem by was it a vision or a daydream? Was I wake up or sleep? So in this mood, psychological mood of turmoils and ups and downs in the life of John Keats, Ode to a Nightingale is a resume to all these frustrations, these thematic issues of death, transcendence, beauty that can be, or pleasure that can be lived but just momentary, and it can never be eternal. And if it should be a day be revived, it should be revived in the world of the death and not the world of life. That is all in all Ode to a Nightingale. Now we should move to the stanzas and explain them one by one. So in the first stanza, we have, if we can provide a title for the first stanza, it's the Keats pains versus the nightingale's joy. So you can cut also this stanza into two parts of the text. My heart aches and draws in endless space, my senses of milk I had drunk or put some dull opiate to drains. 1 minute passed and litty words had sung. Then we have a description of the nightingale that is happiness, that is light winged dryad. Dryad means a nymph which is dwelling in Greek folklore and mythology. The dryad is a nymph dwelling a tree or a flower. So it's a happy dryad dwelling in the tree, in the forest, in the grass, and always happy with that position, with that mode of life. It's a full-throated singer of summer. These are the beechen green. These are the words that describe the nightingale. Whereas in the beginning, in the opening half of stanza in the beginning is a description of the mood of John Keats, which is full of drowsiness and uncomfortable status of mind. So we have juxtaposition of pain within joy. That is with the first stanza. As for the second stanza, if we may provide a title, it should be Keats' dream of wine in his imagination. So he started his second stanza, oh, for a draught of vintage. It means for a drop of wine, soft wine, finest quality of wine, describing it in a beautiful alliteration, beaded bubbles winking in the brim. He meant a good quality of alcohol within good climate, with the sunburns, with the climates of the south, appreciating that alcohol in imagination in order to jump into a world of darkness, seeing no one, nothing, and just appreciating the world of the nightingales in that world of drowsiness. Ending the second stanza by fading away. It means be absent from everything actual, real, reminding him his malaise, and jumping in the world of the nightingale with that soft wine drank by him, or at least wished to be taken by him. That is the second stanza. Rather, the third stanza is devoted fully, the 10 lines, to Keats' wound, Keats' lesion, Keats' pain and injury from the world, from his internal and external world. While the second stanza was describing the nightingale with beautiful positive words, the third stanza is typically devoted for fever, fret, malaise, pale color, youth growing pale, a bad tomorrow, pessimism for tomorrow, that should end beauty, that should end hope, that should end love. Totally pessimistic from the first stanza, the beginning of the third stanza till the end. What is particular within this body of text, that's the ending of the second stanza line is fade away. Then we have fade far away within the beginning of the third stanza, then describing that turmoil, boiling and suffering within the body of the poor poet John Keats. In the fourth stanza, we can put a title that Keats' exchange of wine for poetry. So he said that away, for I will fly to you, to the nightingale. He said to away from my actual world and should fly within the nightingale, but not charioted by Bacchus. Bacchus, again, Keats is a fan of Greek mythology. Bacchus is I think it's called Dionysus, Greek pronunciation, to Bacchus, who is the god of wine. So he said I should leave Bacchus and replace it by wingless or unobserved or unseen wings of poesy, viewless wings of poesy. It means that poetry, imagination should provide him with wings that are unseen and go to fly instead of wine, and in that drowsy status, he should fly to the nightingale within the imagination of poetry in order to join that beautiful world. That is the fourth stanza content. For the fifth stanza, we can put a title, Keats' contemplation of the nightingales on the eve of summer. Spring is the eve of summer, and just the imagination of poetry enables Keats to admire, contemplate, and profit from those scenes that he cannot see them because he is put into darkness, a world that is dark, but that darkness provides him with a better smell to the violets, to the musk roses, to the flowers, to everything that he can touch him, can make him feel it better without seeing them, and this just intensify the power of smell, the power of contemplation for that beautiful nightingale world. In the sixth stanza, we can provide a title that here Keats is an escape from misery for death forever, escape of misery forever by death. Death is the inevitable solution to escape from such misery Keats is living. And here there is he again call for death, and with beautiful words, do very strong and difficult. He said, I'm half in love with easeful death that should take my breath away. So again, back to pessimism. In stanza number 7, the title can be Keats or Immortal Bird versus Keats' sadness. He recognizes that I can't be like the bird, and I can't live forever in such immortal bird that should live for generations after generation. My world should be seized, and he compares his sadness to Ruth, the widow, who when she remembers her homeland, she listening to the singing nightingale, she was sad. So I have a sad heart for my home, like Ruth had such sadness when remembering her homeland, and I should quit forever this meadow, this marvelous world. Finishing the same technique used between the second stanza and the third stanza by the word fade away is used by Keats, ending the seventh stanza by the word forlorn, and the same word forlorn is the beginning of the stanza just after. An excellent technicality by the beautiful poet to insist on the word and insist to attract the reader to what he really wants to pour for us, to express for us. So that was the content of the seventh, and the preparation for the last stanza, which seventh ended by forlorn. The beginning of the eighth is also the word forlorn in the eighth stanza. In the eighth stanza, if you want to put a title, we have just to say Keats bidding adieu. Bidding, first he started the last stanza by forlorn. The very word is like a bell, means that the word of departure is like a bell which rings in my head to wake me up from that world of imagination. The nightingale should go back, and I should wake up and to see that I am alone waiting for that. And the beauty of this stanza is the ending. The ending is Keats' exceptional use of questions that are aesthetic in the way of asking question with many interpretative answers. So he said that the nightingale should go home, and me alone should bid adieu. He said adieu 3 times in the stanza. Adieu to the plaintive world that I lived for a moment within the nightingale. And by the end, he left us into confusion. Was it, he asks, a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake up or sleep? So, was I really visualizing the nightingale? Was it was I near to the nightingale, just sit and contemplating her by a daydream? No effect of drugs or alcohol on me? No effects of the beauty of the nightingale on me? Or I was just asleep, and this is not a daydream, not a vision, not actual, not real, but just a beautiful dream that I have made while I was asleep. So we are left in confusion, and each reader should judge, was Keats awakened when writing Ode to a Nightingale, or was in total oblivion or total imagination of poetry that enables him to write those beautiful words. To me personally, I mix a vision within daydream. Do I wake up or sleep? Is a hope for me. It's a hope by Keats to keep sleeping, contemplating that marvelous world. Shall I wake up and this is life? It should make me wake up a day in order to expect that, since it is highly melancholic poem. That's the content of stanza by stanza of Ode to a Nightingale.